2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning everybody, it's Thursday the 16th of December and it's re-gifting day. And a big happy birthday to Benny Anderson, Kristen Ritter, Dennis Wise and Paul Van Dyke. There was no good news yesterday when it came to COVID-19, with the highest number of daily cases so far in the entire pandemic. 78,610 new cases were reported and 165 deaths. And we can expect that record to be broken again and again as the Omicron variant spreads like wildfire. Boris was back in the Big Blue briefing room with some grim numbers and a warning to socialise sensibly this Christmas.
The doubling rate of Omicron in some regions is now down to less than 2 days, and I'm afraid we're also seeing the inevitable increase in hospitalisations, up by 10% nationally week on week and up by almost a third in London.
And for those clinging to the hope that lower hospitalisation rates in South Africa mean that Omicron won't be as severe, Professor Chris Whitty says that unfortunately it's a question of maths and the speed at which the new variant is spreading.
If the rate of hospitalisation were to halve, but you're doubling every 2 days, in 2 days you're back to where you were before you actually had the hospitalisation. If the peak of this is twice as great, then halving of the hospitalisation rate, you still end up in the same place. And this peak is going very fast.
And that wasn't the end of the bad news either. Because Omicron and Delta are quite different in their characteristics, Omicron won't necessarily replace Delta.
If you look at the overall rates, it looks as if Delta, which we've had with us for a while, is still flat, and the growth is Omicron. So what we've got is two epidemics on top of one another, an existing Delta epidemic, roughly flat, and a growing Omicron, very rapidly growing Omicron epidemic on top of it.
If Boris was hoping that Prime Minister's Question Time will give him some respite from record-breaking COVID numbers and more Christmas party pictures, he was wrong about that too. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer was straight back in with his new favourite line.
The British public are looking for a Prime Minister with the trust and the authority to lead Britain through the crisis. Instead, we're burdened with the worst possible Prime Minister at the worst possible time.
And even though Boris faced a backbench rebellion that saw almost 100 Tory MPs vote against Plan B measures, he was still banging the desk and proclaiming that he's doing the right thing.
I respect and understand the anxieties, the legitimate anxieties that colleagues have about restrictions on their liberty, but I believe, and on the liberty of people, but I believe that the approach that we're taking is balanced and proportionate and right for this country.
The cluster of tornadoes that tore across 6 states last weekend in the US left a terrible trail of destruction in their wake. One of the worst affected states was Kentucky, where 71 people have died and many, many more are still missing. President Biden visited on Wednesday and found the scale of destruction almost beyond belief, but he was also deeply impressed by how everyone has pulled together.
Where you all come together, where people just come out of nowhere to help as a community. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what America's supposed to be. There's no red tornadoes or blue tornadoes. There's no red states or blue states when this stuff starts to happen.
The woman who murdered 16-month-old star Hobson after months of neglect, cruelty and injury, Savannah Brockhill, was jailed for a minimum of 25 years on Wednesday. Mrs. Justin Lambert told Savannah and Star's mother, Frankie Smith, that they'd behaved in a cruel and callous way towards the toddler. Star's mother was sentenced to 8 years for causing or allowing her death. Star Hobson's step-great-grandfather David Fawcett says the sentencing brings the awful events to a close.
We were pleased yesterday to hear that we're a murder verdict for Savannah Brockhill, because anything less would have been sort of shocked. Just a relief. It was thought, well, at last, you know what I mean? She's got a long sentence, and that's what we were wanting, really. We just didn't want anything less, really. So, yeah, very pleased.
Still to come on the Smart 7, a Man City legend retires and SpiderMan No Way Home finally hits cinemas. Right after this.
You're listening to the Smart 7. If you're enjoying it, you might also like the Smart 7 Ireland edition. Just search and follow us on your favourite podcast platform.
3,
There were 3 games in the Premier League last night as Burnley's game against Watford was postponed due to a COVID outbreak in the Watford squad. Crystal Palace and Southampton played out a 2-2 draw, Wolves won 1-0 away at Brighton, and Arsenal surprised West Ham with a 2-0 win. But it was a sad day in Camp Nou as Barcelona's Sergio Aguero announced he's retiring from football. The Man City legend had support from Pep Guardiola, who'd flown to Spain to be there for the announcement of the end of a remarkable career. Sergio's had to stop playing because of a heart condition.
This conference is to communicate that I have decided to stop playing football.
Penelope Cruz has a new movie out this Christmas. It's called Parallel Mothers and it's already picked up 2 Golden Globe nominations. She's been partying this week after a ceremony at New York's Museum of Modern Art to celebrate her career. She popped up on Jimmy Fallon's show and while talking about famous parties she's been to, revealed what it was like to party at Prince's house. Oh.
Those parties were the parties. I mean, I'm not very much a party person, but when I went to those, I would stay there until 5 because the amazing things that were happening in that living room. You could see Stevie Wonder singing with Alicia Keys and Pharrell dancing with Diddy and with Justin Timberlake. And and then Prince would join and play for a while and then he would put the pajamas and come back and say good night and he would go to bed and leave all of us there.
Well, it's been a long time coming, but finally SpiderMan No Way Home has hit cinemas. It's Tom Holland's 3rd outing as Spidey and it's been well received by fans and critics alike as Tom, Zendaya and Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange wrestle with a whole host of familiar villains from across the multiverse. Tom says it's great that it's finally hitting cinemas after months and months of speculation and anticipation.
I mean, this film really is a celebration of, 3 different generations of cinema. We have villains from 3 franchises coming back and it's just an honour. It's just an honour to be a part of it. The fans' speculation and the excitement that they've been showing over the last 6 months has been incredible. So I just want to get the thing out there now so people can see it.
Well, the Smart 7's own web-slinger correspondent Buzz East was one of the first to see the blockbuster. Buzz, give us your verdict, son.
First reactions, no spoilers, please.
Very good and unexpected.
Best Spider-Man movie ever?
Easily.
Easily? You've heard it here first.
This has been the Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft Dog.